What's going on, everyone? My name is Delta and welcome back to another YouTube video on my channel. I know it's been quite a bit of time since you guys have heard from me, and looking back at my YouTube studio here, we could see it's been... oh my goodness! It's been almost a year and a half since my last video. So I thought I would come on here and give you guys a little bit of an update on what I've been doing and what I've been working on. So outside of playing The Division 2, yes, I still play. I just haven't really been making content on it. I haven't really been inspired to do that as of late. I have been helping one of my buddies get back into it, which has been really fun for us to do. But the main thing taking up my time outside of school, work, family, exercise, all that is actually game development. See, ever since I was a sophomore in college, now almost 4 years ago, I've been struck with this fascination on making games. When I was a junior in college and I had a little bit of time to myself, I would be following Bracky's tutorials on how to make 2D games. And then once I had gained a little bit of confidence, I thought I could follow this tutorial series that's something like 50 videos long on how to make a multiplayer FPS game. Suffice to say, I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, given how much programming experience I had at the time, which was basically none. I knew how to code in R and that's it. But that was a while ago, and things are different now. I work full-time as a software engineer, and I'm currently working towards a master's in data science. So all that is to say, when it comes to making games, I'm firmly in tutorial hell. No, seriously though. I'm kind of joking, and I'm kind of not, because I'm no expert. I didn't go to school for game programming or game design or anything like that. I'm kind of just picking it up as I go. But given all that context, I would now like to introduce you to Project Dusk. Project Dusk is the name of the video game I've been working on for the last 7 to 8 months. It's a third-person shooter with Souls-like mechanics, and I think that's pretty cool. I'm coding up the entire thing by myself in Unreal Engine 5, and let me tell you, that has been an interesting decision, and it's led to some really interesting outcomes for this game. I think it's really helps the development start in terms of the ease of production, or I don't even know how to describe it really. So I'm a software engineer and I'm very used to programming in a more traditional sense when I'm sitting down in my IDE and I'm writing a function inside of a code file and I'm actually using code and I'm looking up documentation that way. Unreal Engine is the same way, except for the most part, the ease of use comes from blueprint nodes. And essentially that's visual scripting. It's almost like drag and drop coding, but it's not at the same time. It's a little bit more involved, and you can essentially write your own code files and then use them inside the blueprints, which is what I try to do as much as possible, which is a benefit and a little bit of a detriment at the same time. I found that in some ways it makes my workflow much more efficient, and then in other ways it really hinders my development speed. So I went into this project not necessarily thinking that I wanted to share it with the world or put it on Steam or anything like that. I went into it with the goal that I wanted to design a boss fight, and I would like to share that with you today. Given that most of my audience, I would say, is probably familiar with third-person shooters, maybe not necessarily Souls-likes, as much of you come from a Division background, I imagine, but I would say that the gameplay in this game that I've been building is very inspired by Elden Ring. As I've been playing that recently, I've been playing through more Souls-like games, and I could really see it here. So the original intention of this guy here was that he was going to throw rocks at the character, which is kind of why he looks like the way he does. Essentially, he's a rock golem or something like that. This is a free asset I found on the asset store on Unreal, and I've been using that as the placeholder for my boss fight, essentially. But as you can see now, he's throwing fireballs, and when he jumps at you, he causes some kind of landmass explosion that does damage to the character. Right now he has 3 attacks essentially. He's got the jump attack, he's got his base shooting ability, which you see in the first half of the fight, and then after you reach 60% of his health, he starts getting more aggressive and essentially doubling up on the attacks. So therefore there's more attacks, and there's 2 basic attacks essentially right now. That's all I've really been able to do so far. The character you play as essentially is some kind of SWAT military guy, and right now you see that there's a pistol and there's an assault rifle with more weapons to come, and essentially builds that you can make based on how far you've gotten into the game. The main goal of this project is to make a game that I would want to play and a world that I could find myself immersed in. That's essentially the end goal of this project here. I hit my initial goal of making and designing a boss fight with decent mechanics. It's a little bit bare bones right now, but what can I say? Time fixes all. Now I really hope that you enjoyed this little devlog. This is the first devlog for Project Dusk, and I hope that you all would come on this journey with me, and I would love to have you along. The feedback I'm looking for this game right now isn't necessarily of the bug fixing variety. It's more like the conceptual level stuff, what you would want to see perhaps from a game such as this in terms of boss fights and mechanics and loot and things of that variety. And as always, thank you all for watching. I've been your friendly neighborhood Delta. See you guys in the next one.